Montreal, you know I love you, but this story is huge. So we have to talk about it. And believe it or not, there was a period on this YouTube channel's lifespan where Toronto was kind of the second covered team on the show. This was around 2018, 2019, when I didn't really have the same affirmation towards the Red Wings and the Canadiens as I do today. Now you can kind of very clearly see Vancouver's the favorite team, Montreal's the second favorite team, Detroit's the third favorite team. Toronto used to be in that second team spot, mostly because all the topics garnered a lot of views and, following the stories, it was always a pretty interesting thing to talk about Toronto. But yesterday, the Toronto Maple Leafs played against the Montreal Canadiens, and they had themselves what was a goal-scoring battle for the ages. Two of the best goal scorers in American hockey history going at it yesterday, putting themselves on the board. Obviously, I'm talking about Cole Caulfield. Okay, no, I'm kind of joking with that. Yeah, Caulfield's good, and we made a video yesterday talking about where Caulfield goes from here, but this video is not about him. Step aside Cole. Today we're talking about the first 50 goals in 50 games guy the NHL has seen in almost 30 full years, Auston Matthews. Now, first, let's get semantics out of the way. Is this an official 50 goals in 50 game season as dubbed by the NHL on the Wikipedia page? Unfortunately not. The NHL defines 50 goals in 50 games to mean that the player scores 50 goals in the team's first 50 games of the season, not in the player's first 50 games of the season, which could differ for health, contract, or disciplinary reasons. This feat has been achieved 8 times by 5 different players. Those 5 players are Maurice Richard in 44-45, Bossy in 80-81, Gretzky 3 times in the 80s, Lemieux in 88-89, and Brett Hall in 2 seasons in the 90s. These are the 8 separate times 50 goals in 50 games has been accomplished legitimately, and legitimately being in the way the NHL defines it in the first 50 games of the team's NHL season. What Auston Matthews has done is not technically this, but goal scoring is so difficult in today's NHL that what Matthews has done is pretty much good enough to actually be considered for it, in my opinion at least. Matthews has 58 total goals in 67 games played. My gosh, that's incredible. Just do the math right here. 58 divvy 67 multiplied out by 82. He's on pace for 71 goals over an 82 game season. That's nuts. But either way, Auston Matthews only had 7 goals in his first 17 games of the year. And that was a big deal. You remember at the start of the season when everybody was talking about Auston Matthews and Mitch Marner and how these guys were not producing, the Leafs were not getting on the board, all this stuff. It's the same rotation of news and panic that Toronto media and fans usually go through every year. And it happened at the beginning of the season in 2021-2022. Matthews, ever since that 17-game mark, really came alive and started scoring at a pace that we haven't seen in almost 30 years. Sure, Auston Matthews did not get 50 goals in the Toronto Maple Leafs' first 50 games of the season, but there was a span in this year where, after getting 7 goals in 17 games, which isn't a terrible pace either, do 7 divvy 17 multiplied out by 82, that would have been on pace for a 34-goal season. That's not bad, right? It's just for Auston Matthews, 34 goals is somewhat laughable because that would be a career low. Holy crap, I can't believe I just said that sentence. But either way, after Auston Matthews' November 11th game against the Islanders, wherein he went goalless and pointless, that is when he started to come alive. Now, this 50-game sample isn't really as fluid as you would want it to be either, because Auston Matthews did get suspended for 2 games, so there were 2 Toronto Maple Leafs games that were played in the midst of Matthews and his 50-game run, wherein Matthews just did not play, but in Matthews' own 50-game sample, he scored 51 goals. And it was 50 yesterday with his first goal of the night, the rebound chance set up by Michael Bunting on Jake Allen. It became 51 27 seconds of game time later when Auston Matthews took the puck at the blue line, came right in, went past the D, and shot it far side on Montembeault. And it's wild, man. They asked Matthews on the podium after the game, how does it feel? 50 and 50. Last person to do it was Mario Lemieux when he had 50 goals in 50 games played in technically 95-96 because that was his 48th game of the season, but it was the team's 72nd game. Yeah, he had cancer to deal with, so he didn't play the full 50 and 50 like the NHL record book states, but still, the last person to score a pace like this was Lemieux, and Matthews was like, oh, I didn't even know that 50 goals in 50 games was on the line, but that's humbling. You gotta ask yourself, man, how did a kid from Arizona get this freaking good? I saw people talking yesterday about how apparently he was better as a baseball player as a kid, too. Like, what if Auston Matthews was like, yeah, screw it, I'm just going to play baseball because I'm better at this sport than I am at hockey. And let's face it, hockey is hockey. You're living in Arizona. Baseball is a lot more accessible, is it not? Like, it just blows my mind how some people can be this good and come from the most random places on Earth. Okay, I guess it's not that random because he's still from North America and there are organized hockey programs in Arizona. It's just, it's more random than we're used to seeing. This isn't Russia, this isn't Moscow, this isn't Richmond Hill, Ontario, this isn't Manitoba or something in Canada. It's Arizona, for crying out loud. So that's awesome. Auston Matthews is going to look great in a red suit. Okay, I'm not going to go out there and say that. But either way, Matthews getting this amount of production is just phenomenal. And to me, you think about the Hart Trophy, the most valuable player to a team, and you got to think that Matthews is a part of that conversation. Anybody going out there saying he's not, like, come on, I know the Toronto Maple Leafs are the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their fans are annoying, yada, 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 67, all that stuff. But can't you just appreciate some good talent when you see it? If Auston Matthews was playing for any other team in the NHL, and he had the same amount of production as he did now, he had the same 51 goals and 50 game mark that he had now, he would be like a slam dunk for the conversation of the Hart. Not the Hart itself. You could definitely debate, okay, Igor, he's kind of fallen off a little bit. Roman Josi is on pace for 100 points as a defenseman. You have Cale Makar, who's going to get 30 goals as a defenseman. Like, there are a lot of good players in the NHL right now. But Auston Matthews, 51 goals, 50 games. You can't go out there and say that he's not in that conversation at the very least, man. I know anti-Leafs bias reigns very predominantly in the NHL community and some of the fan bases, but like, this is a generational goal scorer. And I say generational goal scorer and not generational player because just in the aspects of scoring goals, you know, putting the puck in the back of the net, prime Ovechkin did not hit 50 goals in 50 games in any 50-game span. The closest I could find was 2012, 2013 to 2013, 2014, when Ovechkin had 47 goals in 50 games, split across 2 seasons, but Matthews did it here. Actually, oh my gosh, the Wikipedia page just got updated here. I'll take a screenshot of what I'm seeing on my screen right here. So this is the 50 goals in 50 games Wikipedia page as we were just looking at. You could see Brett Hull, and then it says unofficial 50 and 50 guys. I reloaded the page. They've added a thing for Auston Matthews, and they spelt his name wrong. They say Auston Matthews, not Auston Matthews. Let's read what it says right here as it's updating live, because there's probably going to be some form of a spelling correction here. Auston Matthews of the Toronto Maple Leafs scored 50 goals in a stretch of 50 games played, which began November 24th, 2021 against the LA Kings and finished April 9th, 2022 against the Canadiens. He scored his 50th goal at 13:32 of the first period. He scored again 27 seconds later for 51 goals in 50 games played. Unfortunately, Mr. Wikipedia editor or Mrs. Editee, it's not supposed to be here. Auston Matthews' 50 goals in 50 games is not in the same realm as what the NHL defines 50 and 50 as we discussed at the beginning of the video. Unfortunately, it should be moved to the unofficial 50 and 50 scores list, as is Lemieux and his 96 season. But still, take a look at the names that have gotten this 50 and 50 mark. Cam Neely, Alex McGillney, Yari Curry, Lemieux, Hall, Gretzky, Bossy, Richard, and add Auston Matthews' name to that list, baby. Talk to me in the comments all your thoughts about the Toronto Maple Leafs. Auston Matthews being the best goal scorer we have seen this generation. He's gonna hit 60. He might even hit 70. Like, the guy's a maniac. And I can't stress how awesome this is for the game. Talk to me in the comments all your thoughts. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.